countdown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World Tech Fridays. How is everyone this evening?
Not too bad. Any better than they might take my universal healthcare card?
Eric, how are you?
I'm okay. It's been a long week. Like every other week, this year, really.
Yes,
It's been a week of Mondays.
Agree, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
And this was a short week for us because we had a long weekend last weekend, so it was sort of it was only a 4-day week, but I feel like sometimes that makes it feel longer.
Yeah. Especially the week you come back.
Yes. Is it this week for you guys? That's, what is it? President's Day, Memorial Day?
Yeah, Memorial
Monday.
Day. Monday. Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys get the holiday?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting. So you guys have a nice long weekend. It's exciting. Good job on celebrating Queen Victoria's birthday, like the rest of us. See, I knew you ungrateful colonists would still find a way to celebrate.
Oh, we love the royals. We just don't want them ruling us.
Right. Well, I mean, you're headed that way, so.
Yeah,
but
true.
I digress. So Frank, who do we have in the chat this evening?
Who do we got? Let's see. We have Dave of Dave's Vintage Chapel Tech. Hello, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
We have JC. Hello, JC.
Jesus, how are you?
We have Rudy of Rudy's Retro Intel. Hello,
Rudy.
We have CDI. This week on Degrassi Computer Tech. I like that. We have Trina of Trina's Technobabble. Hello, Trina.
Hello, Trina.
And that's it.
That's it. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for attending.
And Garth Beagle. He made it
Garth,
just in time. Just
under the wire. Garth, I watched the movie this week. The Monkey. I think it's called The Monkey. Which is like the namesake of your Live from the Garage. There you go.
And another one.
Yeah, it's the name, or it's Garth's avatar. Is the monkey from the movie? It's it's pretty terrifying, but
with the little symbols.
Yeah, the one with the little symbols. But he's like cursed. It's kind of like a little monkey paw type story. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty good. Stephen King.
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, Phantom of the Opera. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. Anyway, digress. No, the monkey from the movie is Garth's avatar. Garth's avatar came first. Well, actually, technically, the Stephen King movie or book or novel or short story, we're going to call it, was written in the 70s. So I think technically Stephen King did it first. So, but we'll leave it there.
Nah, he built a time machine, went to the future, stole it from Garth.
So what we should expect then is the next big Stephen King book should involve some sort of squawkers like parrot.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, well, I mean, that all tracks. So what's happening in everybody's world this week? Did we do anything fun? Were there any cool acquisitions or... Oh, one bit's here. Hey,
hello. I got a few things.
Yeah, what'd you get in the mail?
So, first, I have this new, super clean condition Tandy 1000EX personal computer.
Ooh.
Nice.
Got a few upgrades including like a 4-in-1 card.
Nice.
And this MCE2 HDMI adapter, so I could have HD out of this thing.
Nice.
And then I got another, because I have a Coco 3 already, but I got another new Coco 3.
Cool.
This one also has HDMI out, but it has the Coco SDC, which is really awesome.
Nice.
And then I got a Atari 600 XL, but it has been modified. It has, it has HDMI or DVI out on the back of it. To hook up for HDMI, and then it's got a custom keyboard that is backlit.
Neat.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so it's got some cool stuff and some audio upgrade on it.
Awesome.
And so pretty cool.
Neat.
And you got the Atari, I believe. Not the Atari, the Amiga. I'm not sure. Did you show that on stream already?
I think I showed it maybe the last time. I'm not 100% sure. I have this Amiga 500 from A1200.net. This is the Scourge of the Underkind limited edition. It also has a custom keyboard and custom mouse with it.
I like the color.
And has a Pi Storm. Yeah, I like this kind of this grayish color here. It's like a slate gray maybe or something. It's like a blue gray.
Yeah.
I also got another console. This one is a Toshiba MSX.
Okay, cool.
And it also has this MSX to SD, as well as the Mapper Mega RAM, which adds 512K RAM. And it also has an adapter for HDMI.
So what you're saying is you basically have HDMI on everything that you purchased.
Pretty much everything this week actually has HDMI upgrades to it.
Cool.
Because the idea is I wanted to, hey, Retro Tech or Die. The idea is I want to be able to plug them into the machine to put onto the stream.
Right.
So like that way I could plug it into my Elgato Capture or something, without having a extra million boxes and
for sure
scalers and stuff to hook up.
Keep it simple.
Exactly.
Nice.
So some exciting stuff.
For sure.
What about you guys? Anything new? Exciting? Otherwise?
Just car parts for me, which is not really what our jam is. So I'll forego showing those off. But yeah, I've been slowly collecting things to get this van behind me back on the road, with the hope to convert it to a camper before the end of the camping season, I guess, of this year. So yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Eric? I know that you've been working on something. Can you show it to the people, or are you still super
I
secret?
Can show this.
You haven't cut yourself, right?
No. I've got a blade that's with the wrong handle, so
everything that we're taught not to do, you're doing.
Yeah, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I might just tape it to the
safety third.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, I am working feverishly. Anyway, there's not that many days left before VCF Midwest.
Yes.
And as everybody knows, for the last 3 years, I've been working on a game, and I have a prototype box for the game. And so this is just paper thrown together. But I purchased chipboard and full-size labels so that I could print and then cut out and assemble boxes by hand.
Wow. So not only is the video game programmed by you, but you've artisanally put together the boxes that the video game goes in.
Yep.
So the game itself, will it be on a single floppy disk? Like what is the actual medium?
There's due to the it's a text adventure game, but it has enhancements. So there's audio, narration for some of the characters. And those audio files take up a lot of space. So it would require like 20 floppies.
Oh wow. So CD or something.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do a CD release. I'm just going to have a download slip that has the URL to go get it,
Nice.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But there'll be things in the box. It'll have there's some printed manuals, because you ought to have manuals that are spring spiral bound so that you can open them up and lie them flat.
Yep.
It's a game as well as a game editor. So there's a manual for the game and one for the editor.
Nice.
which will fit in here.
Perfect.
Barely.
I'm also.
Can we get a copy of your game on tape?
It'll be on paper tape.
Yes. Yes. Please.
Punch card, paper tape.
Yeah. So, no, the included in the box will also be. I'm working on sourcing a cloth map. So like the Ultima, and I forget the guy's name that did the recent release of a new game for the Atari.
Mm-hmm.
He also included a cloth map, so
okay.
I'm working on that.
Any other feelies? Any other little trinkets?
Some stickers, things like that. That'll all be in the box.
Nice, awesome. Well, I
Yep.
look forward to seeing it. I look forward to getting a copy. Unfortunately, I will not be at VCF Midwest this year, but hopefully, somebody can snag me a copy.
Well,
And,
if the Canadian mail workers or
strike.
posties, I guess you call them, are not on strike, then I could always mail it to you.
Right, true enough.
Which seems to happen frequently.
Well, I'm not going to get too political here, but they were forced back to work because it wasn't an appropriate time to be doing what they were doing. And right now we are in the process of
hey, Chris.
Dealing with what could be one of the largest existential crises of Canadian history, dealing with an annoying neighbor. And so it's not an appropriate time for them to be doing it either. So realistically, I think they will be told to get back to work. Because if they want to be considered an essential service, well, then they'll be treated like one. So,
yeah. Actually,
anyway,
to answer one bit's question, I was actually thinking about doing threaded memory like they did for the Apollo computer, where it's pre-programmed, not core memory, but it's it's hard-coded threaded memory.
Nice.
So now, can I get mine laser etched inside a crystal that lasts for like 20,000 years?
Sure.
Yeah, you can do that for me. Perfect.
Yep. For the right,
for the right amount of dinero.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like I said, I didn't get anything this week. I've actually kind of curbed most of my purchasing of RetroTech, but some stuff does tend to find its way to me. What did I acquire last week? A couple of zip drives came my way.
Nice.
Nothing too fancy, but yeah, every now and then you'll find somebody will bring you something. They'll bring you hey, I was going to throw this out, or my dad or mom found this in the attic, or something along those lines, right? So anyway, I'm sure we have a couple of more stops to make here on a few pickup spots that we have for RetroTech that we haven't visited in a couple of months. So that usually, and I think the fairer weather will help the individuals who are sorting through that sort through it faster, so that they're able to get more stuff to us. So some cool stuff. I'm looking forward to a lot of Apple early to mid 90s Apple stuff later this summer. So we'll see if it all turns to dust, because that seems to be what they do. At least my Sentra 650 did. It just disintegrated. Yeah. So, any news from anybody? Do you have any? Frank, I know you did an order today. I don't know if you can talk about your order that you did today.
Yeah, so I ordered some components for some more Fuji nets. Some more of the Apple II Fuji nets and the Atari Fuji nets, as well as some PCBs. And the order was like $1,100 because there was $400 in tariffs.
What's your economy?
Order. Yes, I know, right? We're booming.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
So we're gonna make up for the tax cuts by adding additional tariffs on everything, apparently.
Yeah, well, I always say this to everybody. I've yet to see a government remove a tax that it's put on something.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's what I said. If something gets removed, believe me, they're putting it on somewhere else, and we're just not seeing it yet.
Exactly. So.
But I saw it today.
But again, kind of to reiterate what Ron said last week, is like, this is a direct attack on our little hobby, right? There are some people in the community that, this is their job now. And even just outside our own community, there are people in the, the Atari community and in the Amiga community and in the, other, consoles and stuff that are being totally destroyed financially for these little projects they're doing, because, they're never meant to make a whole lot of money, but they always broke even, and they always, made a little bit of extra money for the person who made them. But now they're going to have people go into debt. I remember watching, I can't remember who was reporting on the tariffs, and they had actually, I think it was Louis Rossman. Someone had talked about how they had pre-made pre-orders for a product. It was like a Kickstarter, and they ended up having to like front $20,000 or $30,000 of their own money to cover the taxes on this product.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Anyway. Not to be a Debbie Downer or anything. We can talk about other things. Anybody get a chance to see the new case that Silverstone showed off at Comtex this week? So I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago they came out with an April Fool's joke where they did a like a retro beige case.
That was like
yes, flat sort of pizza case.
Yep.
And everybody liked it so much they actually made it. Well, now they've decided to make a full tower that actually works with modern components, so it has no airflow issues. It's pretty neat. Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech Tips have all done videos on it. It's pretty cool little case. Lots of modularity in there. You can still fit 5 1/4 drives in it. It's got lots of space for hard drives, but it'll take modern ATX type boards, and even has the ability to support large graphics cards. So I thought it was kind of neat. So I feel like I'm probably going to order one. I think that'll be one of my gifts to myself. I'd like to
when does the 8-inch floppy edition come out?
Oh, I don't know. Not 100% sure on that one.
Okay. You got to have those reel-to-reel tape drives.
Right.
And hang off the side.
I mean, realistically, where does the punch tape go in? Right, like there's the.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think it's Usagi Electric has been working on fixing his punch card system for the computer that he's working on, and last week he did a great video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was playing the Doom music on the oldest computer on the oldest functioning digital computer. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, the machine that he has for punching it out, he like panned at one point and showed a teletype that also punches out the card, and I have one of those. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I've never actually seen one working before, and I know they've had them at VCF, I think, in the past, where you could actually type in your basic program and then have it print out in tape form. So I look forward to dragging that home this summer. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I'll probably end up putting it in my classroom because it is quite large and weighs, I'm going to say 200 to 300 pounds. It's not very light, but it'd be cool to get that put together and make it function. Speaking of terminals, Frank, you got a recent Git that was pretty cool.
That's right. I forgot about the terminal. Hang on. So I found a working
and
terminal.
Answer a 1-bit question. As far as I know, it's a regular ATX AT format, so it should take those type boards. Maybe Pentium 1 is Pentium 1 486. Depends on the layout. Anyway, back to Frank.
It's a Heathkit H19.
Ooh.
And it looks like brand new. Like the thing is super, super clean, but it does work. And all the keys function. Test it out.
Now, Eric, back in the day, was that something you would have used at some point?
VT100.
I feel like that was, which was VT100 was super common. We still used VT100 for the auto parts salvage yard I worked at.
Oh yeah.
On emulation.
Do they have an AS400 out back that it was connected to?
Yep. It did the parts inventory. It did the parts inventory management.
Yeah.
For all the vehicle parts.
Yeah, we talked about this I think it was the last episode of the episode before. When I worked at the Radio Shack in Canada, it was all just like terminal to a Unix box that was in the back of the shop that was connected to the larger Unix box. I assumed it was Unix. It probably was, but it was an IBM product, so it probably was an AS400 or something. A similar lineage, I guess, of device. But it was cool. It was, looking back on it, I wish I had paid more attention to what it was, but I didn't.
Okay, so this Heathkit H19 terminal was introduced August of 1980 at a price just under $1,000. The terminal was also available assembled form as the Zenith Z19.
Okay.
It uses RS-232C. Supports multiple baud rates. 12-inch display, 60 hertz. Resolution is 80 by 24. Does have status line. 5x9 matrix, 7x10 cell. It used a Zlog Z80 CPU and 4K of RAM.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pretty neat though. I thought it was cool. So I drove to pick it up, and it was really neat.
And was it expensive?
No, it was just under $200.
Okay. That's not terrible.
Which I thought it would be a cool project because the thing, like I said, it works great. And it's super clean. It looks almost new.
Yeah, like we were
So,
saying
put, like, a
before in
little
the green room, I think putting like a
computer in
Raspberry
it.
Pi or something on the back
Yeah.
of it and just have it like stream the news or, you know, show the Matrix in ASCII. I don't know if you've ever been to, I can't remember the name of the website. You can watch the entire Star Wars movie in ASCII. Someone has
Yeah,
recreated
the
it.
Telnet.
You can tell that to it, yeah.
That's
Yep.
hilarious.
Cool. Yeah, other than that, I don't think I got anything this, like I said, I don't think I got anything this week. I got a bunch of old computers. I did get a new ATV, but that was a couple of weeks ago. Lots of car parts. Yeah, I think that was it for me. Just really tired. It's been a very long week.
Yeah.
But my last week now coming
Well,
up for classes, and then
this one
Fine.
does have a keyboard on it, Rudy. I don't think I had it at the right angle, but this sucker's heavy. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, lift it a little higher.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
to press it.
Who needs
do
a
couple
gym
of-
membership? You just get some old computers and start lifting. Holy crap. Oh
That's
my
funny.
gosh. Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, it's the last week of classes, and then exams start. So I have 1 week left. My computer science doesn't have exams, so we don't do the month of June for exams. And then it's just a straight downhill shot for 3 weeks till commencement and prom, and then we're done. So
Then you
we
get to
gotta-
do it all over again.
Yep. Then we get to prep for September and do it all over again. Although I'm very excited. I got a couple of really cool projects I'm doing at the school over the summer. Installing some door access stuff, some Ubiquity key fob stuff, which I'm very excited about. And I'm ordering in a bunch of. We're probably going to go with access points in every classroom instead of doing it, as needed. So I'll probably end up throwing around a few half dozen more new access points. And Ubiquity has some really nice new Wi-Fi 7 stuff that I've been playing with. It's been really, really cool. Some of the penetration is terrible. Like if you're behind a single like wall, it's like, oh, it doesn't work. But if you're like next to the, or within visual shot of the access point, you get some pretty crazy speeds, right? Like I think 7 is 3 gigabit speeds locally, right? So that'll be nice. I'm excited for that, but also means I have to update the internet at the school, which right now has been a bit of a pain. Bell only offers, even though on their website they have listings for the 3 and the 8 gig for business. They will not what's the word? Honor it.
Yeah.
I like pointed out, I'm like, look, this is a website that's clearly, this is a page clearly on your website. They're like, yeah, no, that's not real. I'm like, well, then why is it on your website? Oh, I don't know. It's always
marketing.
Yeah. Hey, it's Joe. Yes, Joe, it is you, and you are the permanent sponsor of Old World Tech Fridays. So there you go. But yeah, I'm very excited to start seeing some of the 8 gig. I have 3 gig here at the house now. It's really good. 8 gig is only a few dollars more, but I thought, at the time I was like, do I really need 8 gig? Like, what am I doing? And then I go download a 4K Blu-ray rip and at 32 gigs, and it does it in 3 or 4 minutes. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they started digging to lay optical.
Right.
Started across the street from me, and I got all excited and called. I forget who it is. Anyway, to find out, and they said, "Oh yeah, coming in May." I'm like, "Great," and then nothing.
2027.
Nobody's continued digging, and they haven't done our side of the street yet or anything. And I'm thinking maybe they meant May next year.
Yeah. Well, they don't give you an actual date, like an actual year. It could be anything.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting though. Yeah, pure fiber to the house is wonderful. I got to say I'm spoiled for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We all do yearn for faster downloads.
Yes, indeed.
Well, for this, it's the 1 gig symmetrical that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the symmetrical is nice, especially when you're doing stuff like this. Like right now, I'm out in my garage. There's a piece of fiber that runs from my garage to my network closet in my house that is running. So like I'm getting as fast over that one that 10 gig connection to the garage as the internet will suffer out here. So
Yeah.
my only the only thing that's holding me back is the router that's in the garage. That's I think only 1 gig, but it's 10 gig to the piece of fiber to the garage. So yeah, I like it. It's good stuff. And you know what? It makes total sense. Like why are we still pulling copper? Like it's so expensive. It always breaks. Like glass is so much cheaper, right? And I know that when locally when they went with fiber, it was drastically cheaper than running copper because like when your copper phone lines here, depending on the weather and where they're located, you might have to refurbish them every 3 or 4 years, which is a huge expense, right? Now with fiber, as long as no one tries to bend the fiber line over 90 degrees, it's sturdy, it's good. It doesn't, like, I've only had one line replaced to my house once, and honestly that was the installer's fault because he turned the piece of copper or piece of fiber looked like that, and over time getting blown in the wind it overextended itself and cracked. So but yeah, fiber to my house, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. And fiber between buildings on your property is also worth it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we have fiber between the house and this building.
Yeah, like
that is way easier.
Yeah, and it's also a less likely, if your house gets hit by lightning, it's not going to travel along the piece of fiber because glass doesn't conduct electricity.
Very true. Very true.
Unlike a piece of copper or a piece of coax or phone line or the power that runs out here, which would be where obviously I think the real problem would be the electrical conduit that runs between the house and this place. Would definitely run where the lightning would strike. But anyway, cool. I am really tired though. It has been a long week, and I have venting to do now about Windows Server. I know Joe's in the audience, so I went to upgrade a client server, and I love when I go into a place and nothing's documented, but it's not the fault of the company. It's the fault of the previous IT provider, right? Like nothing's documented. Nobody knows how many virtual machines there are. Like tonight, I found out, oh, by the way, the Active Directory on a totally different server that I had no idea existed. I'm like, oh, great. Anyway, so I'm going to. It looks as though the original server the server I'm working on is running 2016 server 2016. And that was actually, looks like it had been an upgrade from a previous server, which I assume was probably on premise, that was running 2003.
Yeah.
So the forest was only set to be 2008 compatible. So when I put 2025 in, 2025 flipped out because it was like, oh my God, I can't look. I need a forest to look like a 2016, not 2008. I'm like, okay. So that's when I realized, oh, by the way, there's a whole other server here running a Active Directory that nobody knew about. Oh, great. Anyway, that's my venting for the day. I just Windows Server is like, it's like Linux. When it works, it's beautiful. When it doesn't work, it's a fucking nightmare. Especially if you're the first person to have a problem.
Yeah.
You Google the pop up and like there's there's nothing. You're like, oh God, how am I the first person to have this problem? Anyway, Joe knows what I'm talking about, don't you, Joe? Joe loves Active Directory, don't you, Joe? You miss that, Frank, dealing with that kind of stuff?
No, not really.
Yeah, see?
No,
I've never met anybody who's been like, they live for Windows, like they're IT people, they have to use Windows Server, but like I follow a few people on YouTube who are like super into Windows Server and whatnot. But I'm like, are they really into it, or is this just like a facade for the internet?
Yeah, I think it's great when it works, but when you have an issue, it could be a real bear. But yes, I'm with CDI. NetWare NDS is for lovers. Yeah, because I'm telling you, with NetWare and GroupRise, like it was so much simpler. So much simpler.
Yeah.
I had way less issues.
Yeah.
On GroupWise.
I'll be honest, like I started playing with.
Or I'm sorry, not GroupWise, but NetWare. Sorry.
I started playing with 80 like Active Directory stuff probably in around 2000, And so I remember how terrible it was back then and how
God.
easily it would broke and it didn't like when you did certain things. Today, it's
If
way
you-
easier, but it's still
Yeah.
it's a pain in the ass for completely other unrelated things.
But if you're using AD for simple
Yes.
things like just like net login or
Yeah.
something like that,
Mapping a
maybe
few
share or
printers.
two,
Yeah,
printers,
mapping-
yeah,
yeah.
that's fine. That's
Yeah.
no problem. But when you're starting to drill down into GP
Group policies and stuff,
shit,
yeah.
like, oh my god, it can get hairy. It
Yeah.
can get hairy. Yeah.
LDAP
So
for
LDAP is for
swingers.
That's why I'm in management. That's somebody else's problem.
Okay, that needs to be a shirt.
Yeah, that needs to be a shirt.
needs to
LDAP
be
is
a
for
shirt.
swingers.
Yeah, LDAP is for swingers.
Yeah.
When you know, you know.
Yeah.
Or
Wait, is that
if you
because
know, you know.
is that because LDAP puts all the keys in a bowl?
It does. It does. But yeah, like when you start getting to group policy and permissions and stuff, and like
Yeah.
really drilling down, or even normal GP, like setting computer permissions itself on the machine.
Yeah.
Like that's when it can really be a huge pain in the ass.
And that's why I was really excited when Office 365 just offers the ability to log in on the machine. With
Oh,
the 365 account. I'm like, oh, that's perfect.
That's way better. Yeah.
99% of what every business needs is just that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Although I did find one little foible with it. If you're the first person to log into the machine, so if you have multi-users using the machine, whoever logs in first with their Office 365 account becomes local admin on that machine.
Oh, no kidding.
Perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's great, except if somebody else is logging on the machine and then they want to install software.
Ooh.
Windows 365 exists now. Announced, yeah. Did you also see what Microsoft is going to charge people for? Hot patching Windows Server. Hot patching. Think about that. Upgrading Windows Server while it's running. And they're going to charge you for it.
Oy.
When I saw the Register had a story about it, when I saw that, I instantly like sat down and laughed and like belly laughed, almost cried, because I've hot patched a Linux server before where I've updated stuff and I'm like, oh, it's definitely going to break something, but okay, hold on. And it didn't, but I thought it was going to. But I've never, like, I can't imagine like having an actual production server running something important and then be like, yeah, Windows update, go. The person I replaced was so into being bespoke. C:\Windows did not exist on any server, not CWin or Winit or anything to do with Windows or MS. All default NTFS perms were removed. Wow. Oh yeah. Everything anything is going to be monetized for sure, and server is going to be no different. I know that eventually server will be a thing of the past, except for like bespoke, and even then, I think what they may end up doing is just have a higher level professional version of Windows to run like small office apps inside a organization that's not a full blown server, and then you just use Azure to do everything else, and everything else is just a in the cloud type thing. Well, we're gonna get there.
You know, if you want heated seats, you got to pay a subscription for that.
Or you just jump on into the underneath the seat and install your own relay and direct 12 volt from the battery, ignition 12 volt, and put in a nice little, switch. Heated seats.
Or when they don't give you the full battery. And you have to pay to get that extra 20% or whatever.
Or in the event of like a couple of winters ago in Ottawa, when the Teslas were all stuck on the highway in the snow, Tesla remotely enabled the 20% that they were holding back, so that those people that were in their cars could still have a little bit of power to keep warm.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was nice. Desktop OS will soon be subscription based soon. I mean, I can see it, and for some, like, I'm not opposed to certain things being subscription because I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of small business owners, and Joe can probably attest to this too. Some businesses now want to know what an employee is going to cost them per month.
Oh,
so
sure.
If you can tell them that their computer, their phone, their email, their OS, their version of Office, it's going to cost you all together, it's going to be $175 per person per month. It's pretty easy to budget, right? You know what the onboarding is going to cost you. You know what, So there are some people who like that. There are some businesses who like to know that sort of flat rate that's what it's going to cost me per employee.
Yep,
Right, so,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Mac 84, Windows Server 1202 Ground Edition.
Too funny.
That won't happen, Ryan. Oh, it will. It already does. I can go to a big conglomerate like Bell, or I can go to TELUS, and I can ask them to give me a per employee pricing on a desk phone, a cell phone, and a computer, which they'll finance for me for a set amount of money per month per employee. Just how it works. Yeah. CDI says, when I ran corporate IT, I had to budget the costs for new hires, transfers, terminations, and finance. Yeah, and even I would imagine big corporations would like just to know a dollar value per employee, because they know what's going to cost them to onboard. They're going to know what it's going to cost them to lose an employee. And then sort of the things related to that. The other nice thing too is if you're paying for it all to be hosted, you don't have to have any of the infrastructure. So you don't have to deal with any of the servers. You don't have to deal with any of the. You literally just have to get the biggest pipe into your building, and get it to wherever the computers are going to be, and your job is done. So from a corporate IT perspective, it's kind of nice, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, it costs about $10,000 per employee at my last job. They wanted to know every dollar. There you go. So
yeah,
that's a lot. That's actually, that must be $10,000 per employee, like just flat rate, one-time fee.
The only problem with that, and I'm experiencing this right now, is that there's that intangible cost when someone leaves and you lose all the lore and all
business
that.
continuity.
Well, especially when that's been a long-term employee that might have information that's not documented and things like that. That costs a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I've seen it.
There's a certain segment of management that just sees them as replaceable cogs.
Yeah, and they don't understand.
Well, that's what CDI just said. He said management doesn't even factor in how much it's going to cost them to do the layoff rounds. So their savings were not even actual, right?
Yep, 100%.
Look good for that quarter. That's all they care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's like I see some. There's a couple of you probably seen them on Facebook or Instagram. This guy Ben, I can't remember his last name. He's an entrepreneur, but he reads like letters from or emails from people who have had like terrible interactions with their bosses or terrible HR moments and stuff. Anyway, one of them was like a boss telling his underlings that they had to like cut back on the overtime. But then they also wanted to pick up 2 more like new contracts, and he was like, "Well, you can't have it both ways." And the boss was like, "No, we need to not do overtime to make this quarter look more profitable." And it's like, but why not just do the job, however long it takes, and just get more money,
baby?
Yeah, a lot of companies shift bad assets. To some,
pick 2.
Yeah,
quality goes out the window.
Right. But like, you could make more money and cover the overtime by just doing the 2 projects and just do the overtime, like. It just didn't make any sense. I'm like, this makes no sense. This is a terrible manager. Terrible,
Well, that's why you hire salaried staff so that you can work them.
Yep.
Right, but certain states have obvious rules, or at least in same up here.
Well, it depends on their actual job function.
That's right. You just have to give them the right classification, and you're good.
It's all about the numbers. What do you classify that person as?
Subcontractor number 7.
Yeah.
No rights.
Does that person have fixed hours? Fixed schedule. There's all kinds of weird math.
Well, I just said goodbye to one of my best employees today.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, yeah. To find a better offer, or?
Oh, he's still within the same organization, but his talents were wasted on the job he was doing. It was good stepping stone for him to get up to the next level. Right. And that seems to be my superpower at work, is helping people advance, which is good. I don't mind, but it does make my job harder. So
I'll tell you one thing I did with my business was just to reiterate Chris said there. I started just flat rating monthly. I've done monthly subscriptions for my clients. Mm-hmm. So instead of it being a paid per incident, They just know every month this is what it's going to cost them, and they get access to me for however much. So
that's what we used to do.
It's just, it makes way more sense. It makes everybody's monthlies make more sense. It just makes
Doesn't fluctuate.
Do you have a threshold where it's like, if you're going to make me work 24/7 for 3 weeks?
No, but there's very defined like what is covered and what isn't covered. Like disaster recovery, if there's that's not covered under our monthly contract.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. So if I got to come in and the building just burnt down, I'm sifting through server bits, then that's outside the scope, right? Certain new hardware purchases are also outside the scope. Like if they wanted to onboard, 20 new employees,
right?
That's different. That's not day-to-day stuff, right? So I have a fairly well-defined contract that I use. So, yeah, but yeah, it sucks when you have someone good on your team and you have to like let them go. But like everything, you gotta let them soar.
Oh, and this guy's young.
Yeah.
And I fully expect I got about 8 years left before I retire. I'll probably be working for him.
Okay.
At some point. So, and that's
cool.
good. Yeah.
CDO, okay, I'll hire Ryan to run my home setup. As long as I get full like control over the actual project.
If you're going to do it for your house, he wants control of the thermostat.
Yeah, I just
it's non-negotiable.
But yeah, actually, in the tech industry, that kind of goes a little bit to some of the stories that were happening this week. Microsoft laid off a pile of people this week.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Over 1,000 jobs, all over the place. But really? Everybody's admitting that they were being replaced by some form of AI.
Wow.
And some of the jobs were actually pretty big coding projects and stuff, and they were being sort of outsourced to Microsoft's Copilot and ChatGPT.
I read a really good opinion piece today by a guy about vibe coding and the if you're cranking out boilerplate using an AI, that means what? How do I put this? You're doing the wrong thing if you're resorting to using boilerplate for everything.
Right.
Then you just got the wrong kind of architecture. But it was a little tongue in cheek. It was a really good read.
Yeah.
And I played around a little bit with some of the programming tools just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And we just answered a survey where I work, where the entire survey was pretext on the idea that we will be adopting AI.
Yeah.
There was just one freeform text place where you could put your personal opinion, and I basically said we should not do this at all. So I don't know.
I think it's one of those things. It's like when the internet first came around, right? There were a lot of academics. There were a lot of like teachers who were like, "Oh no, we're not letting our kids get on that because they're just going to go find things and they're just going to plagiarize the crap out of everything. They're going to find, how can we trust the information that's coming off these websites?" And yeah, It was the Wild West. The first 10 years of the internet, it was the Wild West. However, it's now considered an academic source.
So, and I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with the crutch aspect, that it may end up being such a crutch for, like we can hire less experienced people,
right? Because
they won't recognize that they're doing something incorrectly or the wrong way.
Yeah,
as an assistant or an aide, it could be useful if you're smart and know how to take the feedback you're getting from it.
Yeah.
But it's a slippery slope,
Sure. But again, I would go back to my internet argument, is like how many programmers back in the early days would go to the internet to get information about things they couldn't figure out.
Right? Oh, all the time.
Does that mean the internet's a crutch, though? That's the question.
It depends on how you use it. If you blindly copy and paste code without knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the code generated by an AI is like, ooh, I've seen this problem before. Here's a solution for that, without knowing context,
without knowing
understand.
But again, I will also argue that giving AI context, and I'm only doing this because I do it for some of my work that I do. You have to know what to give it as much as you have to not understand what it's telling you.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like the Google foo we used to all have for getting Google to give us the right search answers when we were looking for stuff. You were a Google ninja. Well, I think a lot of people need to be trained to be AI ninjas, to understand that you have to understand the material before you present it to the AI to get the, whatever it is question you're asking.
Which is why is treating it as an assistance or a tool that you can use makes sense to me.
100%. But it's how do you prevent the crutch? And I think it's like anything. It's training. It's and again, I'm going to go back to the early Wild West days of the internet. It just takes time, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to
There'll
go
be some
faster.
major failures.
Some major failures. Yeah,
there will be stuff.
Yeah.
That whole race to we can reduce our staff by 5 times and all that. Like and you're
going to get AI
reap
slop.
the benefits of that,
right? Like slop in, slop out, garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a double-edged sword. Like as a tool, it's a fantastic assistant, like you said, to do things. From where I work in education, have I caught kids using it to try to do stuff? Of course, they all do.
No, yeah.
That's just the nature of the beast, right? Just again, like when I was in school, we were using the internet and we were trying to, we didn't have any fancy AIs to write stuff, but we tried to rewrite paragraphs on things to make it sound different than what was available on a website. So if anybody did find it or they used an early plagiarism tool, they'd be at least. No.
Back in high school, I wrote a paper. I wasn't a very good student. I wrote a paper and I actually put some effort into it.
Yeah.
I actually, the library, I wanted to do it on the psychology of terrorism. It was not long after the Munich 72 thing occurred.
Okay.
Sorry, ancient history. But anyway, there wasn't a lot of material out there. And this is pre-internet days.
Right.
I went to the state library and went through their stacks and borrowed some books from there. And I probably plagiarized some of it, because at 2 a.m. when you're finishing up writing it, that's what you do.
Yeah.
But it sounded too good because my instructor is like, come here, I got to talk to you about this paper. I'm like, took me to the psychology teacher or the sociology teacher we had her read it and ask me questions about it. So I was, 2 hours of sleep, just spewing stuff out. And she went, okay, he did write this. Did he write all of it? Nah. But he understands what he wrote.
Yeah. And that's what I think from an education perspective, like we may have to go away from assessments, certain type of assessments, certain, long form assessments, we'll call them, where you send them home with the student, and more on to spend more time on understanding if they understand and can, not even regurgitate's the wrong word because there's negative connotation, but able to discuss the concepts you're talking about, right?
Do an oral exam.
Yeah. Or do proper sit it at the table exams, but it's in a classroom and you can't take it home with you, right? Where somebody else can do it for you, or you could get ChatGPT to do it. So there are again, everything's double-edged sword.
I did get an A in that class that semester because of that.
Well, that's good. And now was that after you hacked into the mainframe and changed your mark? But
you're assuming they had a mainframe.
They did. It was a paper ledger in the main office.
That was exactly what it was.
You just had to distract the secretary, and you could go and
ooh, look, monkeys, and go right.
That's funny. But we digress a little bit. Yeah, I mean, like I said, everything has its ups and downs and its positives and then negatives. It's almost like it's an extension to something that was taught, and we still teach it. The idea of media literacy, the idea of like kids understanding what they're seeing and on the TV, on the internet, understanding, what's a proper news source, being able to discern and disseminate, types of media and whether or not they're factual or trustworthy, that kind of stuff. AI just adds another, now we just have another thing that we have to talk about in those same discussions that we've been having for the last 20 years, right? Or 30 years. What you see originally was like what you saw on TV, can you trust it? Then it became what
Right.
you're reading on the internet. Can you trust it? Now this large language model that has questionable origins, can you trust it? Right. So it's education. But like everything is always, 4 or 5 years behind.
Yeah.
It just takes time. So I look forward to our robotic overlords.
Yes.
Frank, you've been very quiet.
Trying to figure out this resolution issue. And I have no
Rudy.
resolution for this resolution issue.
Oh. What about a New Year's resolution?
It might take me till New Year's to figure out this resolution issue. So very well, maybe.
Rudy asks, Ryan, did you get a letter saying your school board software was hacked? My friend in front. Yeah, everybody did. Pearson, who owns Power School, they all got hacked. Power School was hacked by, it was a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old high school or early college student. Just did it for fun. He was arrested a couple of days ago. But he hacked into Power School and had access to like 100 million or 200 million student files. Again, I think the Register had an article about him being arrested. The hack was a while ago. I don't know what they're going to do with grades, high school grades. Anyway, unfortunately,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, unfortunately, our provincial government forces us to use Power School, so we can't really not use it. So there was no way for us as an independent school to be like, no, we're not going to be part of that. So it is what it is. But it's on the province to deal with it, not us.
Yeah.
Impacts of all of U.S. and Canada. Yeah. It's interesting. Let's see if we can find the Register article.
I'll have to dig that up. Pearson's one of our vendors.
Pearson bought Power School from Apple in like 2006.
We use them for GED testing.
Oh yeah. Search Power School. U.S. teen pleads 19-year-old pleads guilty to extortion attack against Power School. Here you go. I'll put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. There it is. It was from a couple of days ago.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Pearson still owns Power School. Oh, let me look it up. Does Pearson?
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find that article I read.
Oh, no, apparently they sold it to a private equity firm in 2015.
Oh.
Oh, there you go. To Vista Equity Partners in 2015. So there you go. Yeah, and it was a Canadian company originally before Apple bought it. Yeah, Apple bought it in the late 90s, I want to say, and then sold it in like 2006. It's a weird thing for them to buy, but I guess because they were part of, Apple always did educational stuff, I guess it kind of made sense for them to own it. Anyway, gentlemen, I am freezing out here, and my wood stove has gone off.
It's a little chilly.
Almost at an hour. Other than I want to give some congratulations out to our friends over at Linus Tech Tips for calculating pi to a new world record. I don't know if you guys saw that this past week, but they calculated it to 300th billionth place? Or trillionth place. Trillionth, I think it is.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. They build a machine to do it, and it costs like $10,000 in so they calculated to the 300 trillionth digit, passing the previous record of 62 trillionth. They used a high performance storage cluster with 2.2 petabytes of coaxial SSDs, which included their new 30 terabyte The fact you can get a 30 terabyte SSD blows my mind.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it took about 190 days to complete. So it was pretty interesting. The video, take it, like whether or not you like Linus or not, I'll leave that up to you. But pretty cool video. I think if you get a chance to watch, you should watch this. Also, fantastic follow-up more on the BWE stuff with Lewis Rossman. If you guys haven't been following Lewis's journey in this, apparently the Australian government has now reached out to Lewis, as well as the Australian media, They want
Nice.
to go after this guy and get all the information. So here's hoping those poor people that were ripped off get their money back. But if you haven't watched it, check it out. Just go to Louis Rossman's YouTube channel and just look for the BWE video. It was a couple of weeks ago. It all lays out everything that happened and all the research that was done. And all the other YouTubers and members of the public that were involved are all commented and mentioned in the video. So very cool. Very, very. It gave me sort of similar vibes to something that myself and Frank and Ron had to deal with, well, over a year ago now, Frank.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So taking down scammers one at a time.
That's right.
Can we be like the Chris Hansen of like
Retro
of
scamming.
retro
Yes,
scamming?
we should.
Start knocking on people's doors.
No, we just like videotape ourselves showing up to like this buy or this swap.
Yeah.
We're like, hello, I'm Frodo Jedi.
Yeah.
Do you know why you're here? You know who I am?
Do you recognize me?
Yeah.
Where are the computers?
I look familiar. Now, where are these Osborne ones you were coming here to swap or sell?
That's funny. Anyway,
That would be an interesting segment.
I actually watched.
Sorry,
Sorry,
I
go
watched.
I
ahead.
dropped the link to that chat in there.
Oh,
Okay,
awesome!
perfect.
Thank you.
What was I going to say? I watched an episode of Chris Hansen's thing recently where he was going after a YouTuber. The YouTuber tried to get like trespassing charges charged against him, and it was a beautiful like the cops were just like, we're not dealing with this. Chris is well within his rights for what he did. You're a creeper. You should like. It was awesome. Anyway, Eric, are you streaming tomorrow morning? It's going to be a hardware stream before Trina asks.
It won't be a hardware stream if I do.
Okay.
Probably not. My daughter went to a con and forgot her glue guns and some of her accessories.
Oh, that's not good.
Uh-oh.
She's at the Kalahari or
Okay.
is going to the Kalahari
Now
thing.
they don't have
Comic-Con?
cosplay. They don't have cosplay repair center.
Oh, they do, but she is one of the people that do that kind. Does that kind of thing.
So she needs her glue gun.
The Kalahari event is like Wednesday or Thursday. She's staying with friends while they, feverishly finish their cosplay.
Okay.
So we're gonna meet her tomorrow morning to
Cool.
hand off the goods.
Don't forget the glitter
Yes.
and
Yeah,
the
you need
googly eyes
glitter.
That's
and the
right.
little ducks.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, I should take a bunch of I have googly eyes. I should take them with, to give her.
Yeah, she can go as like one of the biblical angels with all the eyes and the feathers.
Yeah.
Cool. I think Trina is streaming tomorrow for the 15th time that she's posted in the chat. It'll be 12 noon Eastern. That's 1:30 Newfoundland time. 1 o'clock on the big land in Labrador. Yeah. Anything else to say, Frank, before we go? I don't know is there a retro repair roundup this weekend? Does anybody know?
I don't know. Is Joe still here?
I don't know.
Or Rudy?
Anybody?
One of those two would know.
Oh, Dave's streaming Memorial Day.
Bueller.
Okay. Dave's
Oh wow.
streaming.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
So Dave will
So
stream.
your
So are you
regular
streaming
Sunday
Sunday
stream
and
is
Monday?
done?
Yeah, that's what I was curious.
Trina says not sure yet, or not sure. Sorry. All right. Well, if you want to fire, yes, retro repair roundup on Sunday. Apparently, I'll be co-host. 1bit says cool. So will it be presented in both English and French? 1bit per the new Quebec laws that all things must be both French and English. And Dave will be doing Monday instead of Sunday. Well, there you go.
Okay.
Well, that's
makes
fun. I'll
sense then.
tune in while I'm at work
Yep.
teaching the youngsters. 1bit says no. Oh, come on. You should just 1bit. Great joke for you. Just start speaking French and pretend like it's not wrong. Like you just and that nobody else speaks English. Just do the whole thing in French.
Is never wrong.
Well, you know what I mean? That nobody will notice that, or it's a joke. So he can just pretend that everybody speaks English or everybody speaks French. I think that would be funny.
We don't speak English here. We speak American.
American, yeah. I demand a road repair televised in
Esperanto.
Esperanto.
I actually know a little Esperanto.
What is Esperanto? Is it?
It's a constructed language that was a movement in the late 19th century to solve world communication issues. And
was it one guy who was like a big proponent of it?
Yeah, socialist kind of thing where, like if we could just talk to each other, there would be no wars. So it's got 14 rules of grammar, and it's based on Romanic language roots. So
okay, interesting.
Vocabulary is always an issue.
And apparently it's also a red dwarf running joke.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay. There's like 3 million speakers in the world for it.
Oh, cool. Neat.
I knew a woman from Ukraine who had a choice. She could take English or Esperanto as a second language, so she chose English.
Of course. The useful one.
Oh.
Yeah, that was her thought.
All right, well, guys, it's been fantastic. We're just over 1 hour here now. We know everybody in the chat has their choice of Friday night entertainment. We appreciate that you spend it with us. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, and we promise we won't be doing random streams and random notifications at weird hours. If you would like to see more videos of Frodo Jedi suffering with retro tech, I don't know. Are you going to put out any more videos of you suffering with retro tech?
I do want to make some videos. I just haven't had time. It's been incredibly busy.
Yes.
Now's the busiest part of my year.
Yes, rodents.
So it's extremely hard to.
I got my scimitar ready.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, awesome.
So, how many boxes are you going to develop tonight?
1.
Ah, perfect. It always starts with 1.
I'm just prototyping at this point.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks for being here with me. Appreciate it. We'll see you all next Friday night. And if a little pearl of wisdom, if you can be anything, be nice. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you all next week.